Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach. So yesterday was quite a day. I think it was the rare case where you could say Zach had a meltdown, and it was actually true. So I've been getting very frustrated at these old men. They're always like, "This is dead. This is dying. This is dead. This is dying." I'm like, bro, the only thing dying in the next few decades is you. Like, literally, shut the fuck up. And then I got this, and I fucking lost it. In fact, I originally just was just cursing him out with all disrespect. Shut the fuck up, you sad old man. But it had, I'm not sure if it was his face and his name, but it had a face and a name. So I took that down. I re-uploaded it with that clipped off. But holy shit, man! It's like originally they just want everything to die. You know, nothing that they grew up enjoying could outlive them, so everything had to die. Now, they want it to have never existed, or practically never exist. So I did a video yesterday where it was just like, I don't think crossover comics count. And anytime I do something that's like the slightest bit negative, people who hate comics are like, oh shit, the gate's open. I could just say the stupidest shit about Marvel and DC and say everything's flopped and everything lost $100 million. It's like, no, asshole. This was a very specific complaint about a type of comic, mainstream crossovers, that have existed since the 1970s. This isn't the sad old man power hour sponsored by Colloidal Silver. So what he says basically has nothing to do with the video. I don't even think he watched it because am I going to be able to see the whole thing? I'm going to crash out again if I actually see the whole thing. So he says, it's too bad because the shame is in a major systemic problem with the medium. It's an issue other media like TV and movies don't have. It's an art form that's also a product the corporations don't want to end. There are only so many stories one can tell about any character. They've been constructed and deconstructed, and unlike Breaking Bad or Back to the Future, there's no planned ending. In terms of character arc and stories, Spider-Man 33 would have been a fine ending to the series in character. The first issues of Action and Superman said pretty much all they needed to say. I'm just going to stop right there. So, no Spider-Man comics should have been published past, like 1967? And no Superman comics, because I believe Action was 1938, Superman was 1939. No Superman comics, or Superman anything, should have been produced since 1940. So, they don't just want things to die. They want things to have never existed. This is a selfishness. I'm crashing out. I'm not saying this as like a diss. What is happening to older men, specifically older white men, needs to be studied by the government. I have never seen a group of men in America in my lifetime that are so fucking pathetic. Moving on. And especially in the case of the former, he's talking about Spider-Man, Marvel has been picking over the template Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby laid down in their previous works for decades now. It's no wonder the multiverse became a thing. It's a product that needs constant existence, and that's to its detriment. Letting these works lie fallow for 5 years isn't the worst idea, but it's not going to happen. Oh. Give me a second. No, this isn't a bit. I don't just want to curse, but that's all that's in my head. Just like, fuck you, you pathetic piece of shit, old man, go shrivel up and die somewhere, but not in a crawl space because that will create a stink. So you are so fucking selfish that if things aren't exactly the way they were when you liked them when you were 12 in goddamn 1981, everything has to die. Everything has to not exist, backwards and forwards. Now I could do things like name all of the good Spider-Man stories after the original issue 33. All the good Superman stories. I'm going to give another analogy because it happened randomly yesterday. So it was on TikTok. And all of a sudden, I saw this funky early 70s rock song. And it was one of the coolest songs I ever heard in my life. And I was like, how have I never even heard this song? And then the people singing it were the Osmonds. The Osmond brothers. I guess they were a boy band before it was Donnie Marie. Song called Crazy Horses. I showed it at the beginning of this video. It's one of the coolest songs I ever heard in my life. I did not grow up liking the Osmonds. Donnie and Marie were super lame to me. The only time I liked them is one time they dressed up like Luke and Leia. And I think they were wearing the actual costume, so it looked really cool. That was it. That was the only time. They weren't the lamest thing in the world to me. So I've never had a positive view of the Osmonds. You know? My point is, art isn't just like, make something good. One of the things I literally think about probably a couple times a week. I'll just be like cleaning up. And I'll remember one time a YouTuber said, it's easy to make a Blade movie. You just have him fight vampires. And the disrespect to art and creation. Oh, you just have him fight vampires? So the movie is like, he's walking down the street, and it's like, oh my gosh, a vampire, and he shoots him. And then he goes to the bank, it's like, oh no, there's a vampire, and he stabs him. And then he's on Ryanair, and then he's like, oh my gosh, some of these people going to the soccer match are vampires. And then he kills them. And then, really, you just have them fight vampires? That's all that stories are? That's how easy it is? My point is, the Osmonds were pretty fucking lame. But apparently, for a couple years, some of them were goddamn cool. And just to throw out everything, because you're a pathetic, sad old man and the world doesn't fucking revolve around you. Show some leadership, show some mentorship, and point things out to the new generations. Hey, I know you love the hippin' and the hoppin' and the bippin' and the boppin', but did you know that Barry Windsor Smith was pretty cool? And people don't talk about him as much as... Although I actually do like when things kind of, like, it's kind of the opposite. Like, when I was a kid, you couldn't say you didn't like the Beatles. Now nobody gives a fuck about the Beatles. In fact, I will just randomly cheer myself up by, like, messaging Brits I know. It's like, what do you think about the Beatles? It's like, I was never into them. Yeah, me neither. Geez, in the 70s, 80s, even 90s, like, you had to like them. But I don't want them to never have existed. These guys are taking Stan Lee's slogan of "Nuff said" way too far. They don't want nothing said. They don't want nothing to exist. They get to the last few decades of their life, everything's got to go. Everything's getting erased. The timeline's being erased. We're going to build a time machine. We're going to go back in time and we're going to kill Stan Lee as a baby. Like, how are you such a and don't give me this fucking bullshit. Oh, there's too much of this stuff. We need to let it lie fallow. There's a Star Wars movie coming out, 2 weeks from now? It's the first Star Wars movie in like 7 or 8 years. Are the people who are saying, we need to take a break from Marvel. We need to take a break from this. There needs to be no superhero movies. No Marvel movies for like 5 to 10 years. Well, you got your dream. Are you raring to go see Mandalorian? No, you're hoping it fails just like you hope everything fails. Older white men need to be studied. Something happened to them. Specifically the conservative ones. Conservatives were never this lame or this gay, but that's a different subject. I always laugh when I think about when I said Matt Walsh was a closeted gay man. Not a single person opposed me. Nobody wanted to die on that hill. It's the beard. That's a gay man's beard. Only gay men have beards that dense. Not even getting into his behavior, but that's just an easy tell. That's a gay beard. Anyway, take a sip of soda. I'm getting overly excited. I got into Spider-Man. Now I was aware of him, but I got into collecting comics regularly on Amazing Spider-Man 303. Don't make me do math in my head, but I believe that's about 280 issues after what he deemed it should have stopped at. This is also built on another falsehood that is just, just easy to make things. And it's like, oh, make Superman, and you said everything in like 2 issues, so just go make something else. Well, it's rare for someone who's creative to just make one good thing. That's how you can tell Sana Amanat is lying about like creating Ms. Marvel or co-creating her. So you just created one character, just one, and then she got a comic. She's been in cartoons. She's been the lead in a video game. She had her own show, and she was in a movie. You didn't make second character? Yeah, you're fucking lying. G. Willow Wilson did all the freaking creative lifting for that. And G. Willow Wilson has made other good characters. But creators, artists, tend to have a heyday of about 5 to 10 years. Can you imagine creating Superman, doing 2 issues and go, I gotta stop. Because in 90 years, old white conservative men are going to be infinitely pathetic, and they're going to want nothing to exist that they enjoyed, because they're not going to be able to, they lost the ability to enjoy things, so nobody gets to enjoy things. Did you like Zack Snyder Batman v Superman? Can't exist. Did you like John Byrne? I wasn't a huge fan, but I liked Reign of the Superman. That was a cool era. I liked that era. Nope. You get 2 issues of Superman ever. That's it. You get 33 issues of... We got to start symbolically spitting in these men's faces. When you're in a conversation, when you're in a forum, when you're on a thread, when you're wherever, and some guy, probably on Lipitor, walks up, you're like, hey, welcome. Everybody's welcome in fandom. That being said, you don't get to talk, you don't get to comment, you don't get to reply, you don't get to use the like or unlike button. You can nod a little bit, you can't shake your head no. You are on notice, and the notice will never end because your cohort, your demographic has ruined it. Men 50 and older, shut the fuck up or go away. All you do is ruin things. All you do is, like, I'm seeing people complaining. It's like, oh, I actually got it right here. They're like, Disney Daredevil is terrible because in Netflix Daredevil, he used to gasp during fights. It's like, yeah, because he's fucking in better shape now. I know you sad sack 53-year-old men who hate everything have forgotten this, but things can actually get better over time. I know, it's blowing your mind. Let's see what else I got here. This was cool. A lot of people are like, oh shit, that's what those sticks were? They've been different things. Sometimes they've been ammo pouches. Originally, sometimes they've been like Eskrima sticks. Sometimes they were knife holders. This is actually really cool. I think the coloring is kind of discordant. So, but it's pretty badass. It's actually, Cyclops miniseries. It's been getting better as it goes along. Hey, so Sad Old Man, how many issues of it was allowed to exist? Was it 1 or was it 2? Because it got really good in issue 3. Will you deign to allow us to watch it? I really hate these guys. This is fun. Every couple months I see how AI is at creating art. This is a really cool story I got called Long Haul. Daredevil. Fucking generational run. This is what, like the this is what, around 600? This is like the 600th issue of Daredevil. How many of them were allowed? Geez, Superman was still jumping like a flea in those 2 issues he mentioned. There was no kryptonite. There was no Krypton, I think. There was no Smallville. He worked at the Daily Star and he jumped like a flea. And that's all he could ever be. Because sad old men don't want anyone to have anything because they're in the last few innings of their life. Cursing, 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 curse some more, curse some more, curse some more, curse, 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 curse. Anyway, thanks for watching.